Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. It is Topic Tuesday. My name is Jorie Houlihan. I'm your guide for the dopamine deprived. And every Tuesday, I come on here live at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time to talk about something ADHD related for a few minutes. So today, we are talking about ADHD and our inability to say no. Well, we could try to be more positive. Why we say yes too quickly. That's actually really what it's about. So, have you ever heard yourself say, yeah, sure, I can do that without your brain really processing what the question was in the first place? Or, and then later when you are looking at your calendar, you're wondering what possessed you to commit to 3 big commitments in 1 week, right? If you have ADHD, you have a pattern of saying yes too often. Ask me how I know this. And it's not just about people pleasing, although that is a big part of it, but that's not the only thing. And so today we're going to talk about why our brains say yes before we even think about it. That happens way too much for a lot of us. And then we're going to talk about how we can start to protect our time and our energy without feeling like we're letting people down. We really hate letting people down. All right, so why do we do this? Why do we say yes so quickly? So the first reason is it's an impulse agreement, right? We respond before processing. It's almost like our mouth moves faster than our thinking sometimes, or our executive function more specifically. And it's in part because the brain gets a little dopamine gets a little dopamine hit from making somebody happy, right? Or the excitement of, something new, a new idea, a new event, a new whatever, right? Our brain loves novelty. And so that sometimes is the big reason why we do that. We also have a lot of FOMO. So if I say no, I might regret it later. So the ADHD novelty seeking is sometimes the thing that gets us into trouble, right? And it's the thing that sometimes causes us to jump in before we really think about what this would actually mean. Time optimism. We've talked about that in the past. We are very optimistic and we really believe that we are going to have the time and the energy to do this thing we're committing to because we are picturing our ideal future self and not our tired Tuesday night self. And the thing you're committing to is on Tuesday night, in case that's not clear. And then we also sometimes do it to avoid discomfort, right? Saying yes feels easier in the moment than that awkward no. We don't really like confrontation. So, and again, we really do like, we're way too people pleasy. So, it's, so sometimes we say yes, not because we can actually do it, but because you want to avoid the 5 seconds of, guilt or discomfort in telling somebody no. And then what is the fallout from overcommitting? So it's not just about having a busy calendar, right? It's what that busy calendar ends up doing to us. So burnout from you'll have well, you have this burnout, right? When you overextend yourself, you are going to end up burned out. We end up dropping the ball all over the place, and then we have all this guilt and this shame and this feeling of incompetence, and we've let people down. And we also end up having less time for the things that actually matter to us. And then sometimes it can even lead to resentment of that person and ourselves. And remember, the person didn't force you to say yes. You did that to yourself. So the problem is for every yes that you say, that means it's a no for something else. What is that something else? Okay. Often that something else is our own rest, our own creativity, our own well being. So it's really important to learn how to say no to things, or at least give yourself some space to think before you commit. Okay. So, how do we make the yes a little bit more intentional? So, number one, pause before you answer. Say something like, you know what, let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. That interrupts the impulse yes. And I have gotten into the habit of saying that, even if I know I can do it and I want to do it, I still say that because I like being in the habit of doing that. It's really important for me, to be able to give myself that space because I'm really good at committing to things and then going, "Oh, I totally forgot about that other thing I was supposed to be doing." Right? So that's the other reason that I have gotten myself into the habit of saying, "Let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you." It is really helpful, but then I have to remember to do that. Okay? So that's when you then have to set a reminder to look at your calendar and then get back to them. Because I've also forgotten to do that. Um, you can ask yourself 3 questions before answering, which is, number 1, do I actually even want to do this? Number 2, do I have the time or the energy for it? And 3, what will I have to say no to if I say yes? Again, for every yes you commit to, that means you're gonna have to say no to something else, right? So asking yourself those questions can give you a little bit more pause again, so that you can really decide, is this something I really want to do? You can use scripts for saying no without guilt, right? We do have so much guilt when we tell people no. And, you can say things like, you know what? I'm really flattered you thought of me, but I just can't commit right now. Or, that sounds amazing. And right now I am at capacity. I just can't at this time. Okay. So flatter them, especially if it's a legit flattering. I don't mean to just, flatter people for no reason. I mean, you can do that too. That would be nice. Anyway, you get my point, which is just to have some scripts that will make it easier for you to say no. And then you can also create a yes budget. Maybe decide, look at, this. Now, this will take some forethought. So you might want to find a way to remember to do this at the beginning of a week or the beginning of a month. How many new yeses can I realistically commit to this week or this month? That's what you want to pay attention to. Okay. Create a budget. And then once you hit that and you say, you know what, I've already said yes to my budget. After that, you're going to, say, I'm flattered you thought of me, but I just can't do it right now. Right. And you can always just have the default, let me think about it. You can just say, let me think about it. And it's one sentence and you can move on. So it is not saying yes. Saying yes is not the problem per se. Okay. It is saying yes automatically and not thinking it through first. There is a cost to it. Okay. And it may be a cost you're willing to pay. Maybe this is something you really want to do and you think it's going to be really great and it's going to add something to your life. But when you say it because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or because you just wanted to make them feel happy or because you didn't give yourself the space to go, well, wait a minute, do I have other commitments going on at that time? That's probably my biggest one that I forget about. That's where you start having problems. Okay. So when we say yes, let me rephrase that. When we slow down the yes, when we slow our roll on this thing, right? We start then protecting our energy, our creativity, our other commitments, and our mental health. And so when we slow the yes, we also then can show up more fully for the things that are actually really important to us. I think that is one of the best questions you can ask yourself. For every yes I say, that means I have to say no to something else. What else would I might be saying no to that I might actually really want to do? Right? So you can let me know in the comments, like, what's one thing you'd wished you'd said no to recently? And what's a script that you've said in the past that's worked really well for you? Like I said, I have gotten into the habit of saying, let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. And that's when I learned that I also have to set the reminder to actually do that and get back to them because I'll say that and it'll probably be in a text. And then, you know how we are with text and then it's out of sight, out of mind. But when you can start to really see how that helps you put some space between you and that answer, because so often I'll think, I genuinely think I can do this. I'm really excited about it. But then I look at my calendar and I've already got something committed there. And it's also something I really want to do. Then I might have to say no to that. Right. So it helps you not feel so stressed out. It helps with the guilt. It helps with your mental well being. So, and I know how hard it is to establish these boundaries and to say no. Ah, do I know how hard this is? However, it is really important to learn to do that so that you can really spend your time, your valuable time, doing things that are really important to you, to your family, to your friends, etc. All right? So, let me know in the comments what is something that you said yes to that you kind of regret now, and what are some things that you have said in the past that have given you that space to slow your yes, right? Slow your roll. That has really worked well for you. I would love to see what you have to say about that. All righty. So, I will see you all next Tuesday. Oh, and tomorrow we're actually having live Q&A. I know it's kind of soon from the last one, but I realize I can't continue to do the last week of the month. It just doesn't work for my life. So it's always going to be the second Wednesday of the month moving forward. This is for paid subscribers. So if it's something that you want to be a part of, definitely think about subscribing. I hopefully will see you there. All right. If not, I will definitely see you next Tuesday. Have a great one.